Welcome back to DS Trucks. In today's video, we're gonna be doing some more experimenting here with some ball joints, and we're gonna be continuing to try to put a grease fitting on a ball joint. Now, if you follow the channel, you know that we've done this with the 450. It was kind of hit or miss, but with these ball joints that are off the vehicle, they're already bad. They're removed. We actually had to cut these loose in order to get them off because everything was so rusted. We couldn't get the axles out to make the room for the ball joint press to go in because the fasteners that hold the bearings, the hub bearings onto the knuckle, were so rusted that they couldn't be removed. So on the side note, aside from this video that we're making, this vehicle had to end up getting new knuckles, new bearings, everything, because this was never coming apart again. So in today's video, we are going to be drilling new grease fitting to go in this old ball joint, just so we can get an idea of, is this something that's really viable or possible for us to do, or is this a bad idea? So let's do some more experimenting. Let's drill through and put these in and see how it goes. Okay, so I put a little chassis grease here on this drill bit to try to make this a little bit easier, but I'm gonna go ahead and drill right through the middle of this thing, give or take. I mean, it's not perfect, but it is what it is. Oh, it went right through. So these ball joints from that's plastic. That is in fact plastic. Okay, so this ball joint that's on the Jeep has a plastic bottom. The 450 had a steel bottom, so I gotta get a light and look to see, does that plastic bottom go to the joint itself or what? Yeah, it does. I can see that ball joint down in there. No kidding. Okay, so this is way easier on this one. So let's take our pressable. So that hole's obviously not big enough. What we've been finding is the drill bit that they tell us we can use is too big. It's like throwing a hot dog down the hallway. But if I just drill partially through with it, not all the way. I didn't need the grease because this is a plastic. Okay, that's a much bigger hole. Okay. Literally going into a plastic housing here. I don't want it to go too deep because one of the things that I found with at least this particular brand with the knock-in, now I could get a tap and die. So grease fitting, hammer. Oh, slipped a little there. It's kind of a tight fit, huh? Let's try this a little more. Okay, it's in. All right. A little bit of brake clean. Okay. And I guess we need our grease gun to see what happens here. Okay, so I've turned it on the side. I got the grease fitting here on the back. I'm gonna try this out and we'll see if it takes the grease around the ball joint or what. Let's see what goes down here. Moment of truth. Okay. Look at that. Dang, dude. You can see it on the camera. All right, let's see what happens here. that ball joint is getting greased. So look how much tighter that is. That whole joint's so much tighter. I mean, obviously it's not, you know, a new joint, but looking at this ball joint was bone dry with no grease fitting, like completely bone dry. So we're able to grease it now. Unfortunately, that wasn't, you know, done before, so it needed to still in turn get replaced. But if this vehicle was caught before it got this far gone, then maybe it's possible that a grease fitting could have been added to this ball joint. So yeah, we drilled through. This side was plastic. How crazy is that? So I'm kind of curious. Let's put a bigger hole in here and let's see what the heck is going on inside of one of these ball joints. So this can just hang out there. I'll take another. This one's steel. So the top, I don't know which, I don't remember which one's upper or lower, but the lowers have plastic. This one's cracked. No, it's just the surface of it. Can we put a bigger hole in that thing? Let's see. Okay, let's put a bigger hole in this next one, just to get an idea of what's inside of this ball joint here. Turn the speed up a hair. This bit might be a little dull. Okay, yeah, I'm drilling right through that ball joint. You can see how thick that plastic is. Oh my goodness. The plastic is really thick. Wow. Thanks a lot, Neil, for the pliers. Just nasty. It's all dry and rusty. Ugh. Let's get a little compressed air. Oh wow, I'm gonna be able to take the ball out of this. That's it. What? Look how pitted that thing is. Totally just corroded away in here. Wow. Check that out. Plastic cap. Ball goes right in. And it's all plastic lined. So I guess that's why they figure you don't need grease fitting. But if this inner piece was a stainless, maybe it wouldn't have been so bad. I don't know. Grease, regular greasing would have helped because number one, you got the lubrication. Oh. But that grease film would take up a little bit of slack that's in here, and it would prevent the corrosion because essentially it corroded away. Aside from that, that plastic inside, it's like a white plastic. It seems as if it held up over the years. So any hole for this one, this isn't really a ball. Which is interesting. So no, let's kill the air compressor. Okay, so here is the new ball joint setup going on the truck, and this is the aftermarket, picked up from O'Reilly's. And what we noticed when we put a little grease in this, because we were waiting on parts, note to self and note to others, you don't want to grease the ball joint before everything's assembled and everything's tight. What happened is the grease caused this ball joint to come out of its socket, which is strange. Now that I've taken that one apart, I think I'm able to see maybe what's going on here, because out of all of these, this is the only one that did that. So I'm actually going to take this knuckle off of here, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Check this out. It doesn't want to do it now. I need a hammer, actually. Hammer is acquired. Check this out. Watch how long this ball joint is. Okay. Why is this ball joint, I can't pull it by hand, but I don't know why it's able to move that much. To me, it seems like it shouldn't be doing that, but nonetheless, when we did grease it, it just shoved that thing out. But it is tight in its housing. It's not loose or anything. So I guess that downward tendency wouldn't really matter for real, as long as this one can't do it too. But it is kind of weird that that one did it as well. So we've been thinking, do we go ahead and change this out again, or do we run it? But I don't know. Comment below and let me know what you think. But anyway, we have now successfully added a grease fitting to a different ball joint. Now this is on a Jeep, non-serviceable ball joints. We've been able to convert it to serviceable, although it was too late. So pretty interesting. In this setup, this would have been the one that you can't get because the axle would be in the way. So as you can see here, they have a grease fitting which requires a needle in order to use it. So wouldn't be hard to add it to the upper down here when the axle's in the way. Man, I don't know. Still might have to stab the boot only for that. But I don't know. I guess that is it for the video. I just wanted to real quick show that. I didn't know, you know, what was going to happen or if it was going to be effective or not, but it does seem like it was pretty effective. Being this how this is designed, I don't see why you couldn't drill through this surface and be able to grease the ball joint. But in doing so, you'd have to pull the axle out. And would that be worth it at that point? And would that grease fitting hit the axle? I don't know. So that's it, and that's that. My name is Sean. This is DS Trucks. Thank you for tuning in. See you next time. Over and out.